Deion Sanders and Colorado made a ton of changes to the roster this offseason, but how good will they be?
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. Joining me today, the Mr. Legend himself, Colin Moore from Life and Football. Colin, how you doing?
Good, man. Appreciate you for having me on.
Of course, we love chatting ball with Colin because he always brings an optimism and a different point of view. So, Colin, let's talk about Colorado. Obviously, start off strong last year. They're 3-0, and then they lose to USC and Oregon, and it's like, okay, those were tough teams. And then they just completely the wheels fall off and things start going wrong. Now, we look at the roster comparison this year to last year, and it's night and day different. And there's obviously a sense of Joel Klatt said he could see them competing for a Big 12 title. There's a sense of their win total is at 5.5 right now on FanDuel, which I feel like is a steal. I feel like I would smash the over on that if I was a gambling man. What is going to be the difference between this team last year and this year? Are they going to be better, way better? What would you gauge it as?
I feel like we'll be way better, but it just all depends on how the cookie crumble. And I ain't talking about crumble cookie now. So you got the big games with the UCF, the K-State, the Kansas, that you got your Arizona,
Oklahoma
State's
one.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. But then you also got Texas Tech and Utah. So you got 7 games that if you can pull out those 7 games and win 5 of those games, or let's say 4 of them, you seem pretty good. And I think their floor is by 8 wins, and I think the max they can have is a Cinderella run because, like I told you last year, TCU that came in when they made the adjustments when Sonny Dykes had got there, they was ranked around the same area we ranked. They had 5 wins instead of 4, so they were 5-7. We're 4-8. And he made the missing little tweaks for whatever he felt was needed. And boom, they took off. And the ball was bouncing their way throughout the season. So we'll need one of those type of years to have that Cinderella run. But overall, man, I think we way better in the O-line, D-line. Then you look at the coaches. You got a NFL head coach as the OC. You got a DC that was a scout, but he worked his way up to a position coach in the NFL with the Bengals, and they don't just let anybody run their way up. Because I know a scout that's with a team right now, and I don't know if he's trying to get into coaching like Coach Livingston did, but man, that man done ran his way up. So with them two on the OC and DC, plus you got Warren Sapp there, and you got a lot of players there ready to try to get to the NFL. This all they needed was the opportunity.
Yeah, I think there's a different mindset around the team too. Obviously, I don't think you ever want to have like back-to-back seasons where you lose like 40 plus players.
Yeah.
But I think both times it was probably necessary. I would say majority of the guys that left the program this offseason, majority of them. Now, Dylan Edwards hurts, Alton McCaskill, we never really got to see him, so that kind of hurts. But most of the guys, for the most part, were not contributing the way that Coach Prime and the team had hoped. They were not contributing the way that there was just expectations around a lot of them that they didn't live up to. And I think coming into this year, the roster is way different. All these guys, it's kind of like a win now mode for a lot of these guys because they're taking a chance. Like Deion Hayes left Pitt where he was a starter. He's a Pittsburgh guy. And he was like, I want to go somewhere where I could win. And I don't feel like you make that kind of claim unless you believe it. And so obviously Colorado has a lot going for them. What is the one change out of all the changes? We could get to a couple more of them where you're like, that changes the difference between them being 4-8 and them being 8-4.
Man, I think with the offense, just the offensive line, with the way we set it up, we got starters. Now we let some starters go too. Savion Washington at Syracuse. Wells went to Oregon State.
Mhm.
And we had another one lead too, but I don't remember where he went. So we got some guys that were starring too and left. But when they played together with Coach Pryor and them freshly getting there, maybe it just didn't bowl right as well as with the position coach. Now you got a position coach who's hungry to show that, hey, I deserve to be a position coach. Like he was an assistant at
Mhm.
his spots. Now he's the main guy. So now he gets to show them, okay, I went junior college, I went the Oklahoma, and I went to the NFL, and I went second round. So I know what I'm talking about. So now you bring that to the O-line, man, that
Yeah.
just messed us up for real now.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that Coach Prime did in hiring some of the guys he hired are inexperienced in the sense of like Robert Livingston hasn't called a defense yet.
Yeah,
Phil Loadhall hasn't really not coordinated, hasn't really coached an offensive line as the main guy. He was like an analyst at Oklahoma,
yeah,
but he's giving guys chances where they know there's going to be pressure and they're trying to prove themselves.
right,
And I kind of think that's like the whole, for lack of a better term, aura of this team, where it's
right,
like we are all trying to prove ourselves. So let's prove
right.
ourselves together. Talk to me about the importance of having this NFL experience. Like Warren Sapp is there, Deion Sanders is there, Kevin Mathis is. There's so many guys with some sort of NFL experience, whether it's Hall of Fame to they had a cup of coffee in the league. Talk to me how that helps the team out.
Well, you know that set you beyond everybody else with having that type of information. Now, when you got the information, do you have the players to match the information?
Mhm.
This year, we got the players to match what we telling you. We telling you to bam boom swim that way and go get him. The defensive lineman can go do that with Warren Sapp. You got
Mhm.
the O line with Coach Loho. He telling him how to do it, and he got old linemen that done played in games. The only one that hasn't played in a college game is Jordan Seed. Everybody else done played in a college game or been in. No, they done all started. All of them started. So everybody on our O line has started in a college game more than one season. So that speaks volumes. Like last year, it wasn't like that. In the O line coach, the way it all went down and the way the plays was going, it didn't look like it was on the right page. This year, you could hear Coach Sherman tell everybody, hey, all right, in college, this how it worked. In the NFL, that's how it worked. So now he knows how he's gonna break it down. And man, that thing feel like it's gonna roll this year.
Yeah.
It just do the way it's all set up.
Yeah, and I think the team seems more connected. Up until recently with the concert rumor, there
Yeah,
hasn't been a lot of like I would say drama. I wouldn't say there was drama last year, but there was like videos here or there, like Nico Reed getting into it, Travis Hunter or whoever it was, or Jimmy Horner,
yeah,
whoever it was. Like there was it seemed like not team friendly sort of altercations where now it's like everyone's motivating each other. The only time we see guys beefing is like guys being like, "Hey, I'm here to take your job," and that's like a form of motivation. Whereas like last year, it felt like they were still figuring things out by this point, and so I think the team is in a better position coaching. I
yeah,
think they have better talent, and
yeah,
then also let's talk about the returners real quick. They return a top three quarterback at worst. Like he's probably one or two or three. You can make an argument for all three spots. And then Travis Hunter is the most dynamic athlete in the country. So talk to me about what they return and how people I think are overlooking that.
man. I don't even know why the country, the people playing like they don't understand. They know that Shador Sanders is the number one quarterback in the country, hands down. Then on top of that, he got the number one wide receiver room. And I look at other teams where they say they got the number one wide receiver room, but I'm like, bro, your quarterback don't match what you saying. Now your
Yeah.
schedule may be cupcake. Like they say Ohio State got the number one room, or Oregon got number one room. Well, Ohio State really only play like two or three games that decide their whole season because they team so stacked and the schedule is in their favor. So of course they're gonna be throwing the ball. Oregon, on the other hand, I ain't looked at their schedule yet, but I ain't looked at their schedule, so I don't know exactly. But our wide receiver room, we got one wide receiver, 108 catches. That's the returning wide receiver in the whole country. Don't know wide receiver got 108 catches returning, but LeJounte. So that's one. Then you got Travis Hunter, the number one athlete in the country. period. So him and Shador could go 1 and 2 in the NFL draft, depending on how the team's picking. Then you got Jimmy Horn gonna do something. You got Will Shepherd was balling at
Vanderbilt,
Vanderbilt. Then you got what's my boy name? You got C5 can come in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you got a lot of wide receivers. And then you got Omarion Miller that showed out in the USC game. Can he display that continuously? So our wide receiver group, hands down, by far number 1 in the country. Then you look at the running backs. We got 2 running backs that played. Well, 3 if you count Charlie O2. We got 2 running backs that played. One played at Ohio State. The other one played at Arkansas. Both of them can do their thing. Then you got the other young running backs. Then you, like I said, the O-line already stacked. Then you go to the D-line. They got guys that was starting at their university that was doing well. And then when they do the returning starters and all that, they'll show our guys in the Big 12 top guys returning. Then on top of that, we have the one who nobody even expected is the linebacker from FAMU.
Talk to me about him. Talk to me about him. That's your neck of the woods.
Man, listen, right. So we watched him play all these years at FAM, dominating. I'm talking about straight baller. Like, we get to see that this year. So we didn't get to see, and everybody, and like you said, last year, everybody was on the run. Coach, I need this. I need that. So he was trying to run to get everything together. Now he had a whole lot come. Then other guys left too, but that was the guys who really weren't going to play, other than a few starters that left, but they probably left for different reasons because coach was bringing in so many, but you just never know the real reason behind that. So now that we had, let's say 95% of the players was there through the spring, and now we got the rest for the summer, man, it's on now. Like, we really got a squad. I don't know why they downplaying it, but we really got a squad that's ready to take this next move, and all of them want the next move. Like, they want it versus, I'm trying to figure out Coach Prime. I heard he like this. I heard like that. Ain't no more I heard or nothing, because you done seen it now. You seen it through a whole year now, and you chose to come anyways. Oh, you know what time it is. It's game time.
They know. These guys are already, and the offseason hype videos, they got Navy SEAL training. They got all these like competitions. Yeah, I like it because I feel like it's going to get them mentally tough, which I think is an underrated aspect of the game. But yeah, very solid offseason for Colorado. Realistically, outside of a couple instances on social media where I was like, that was preventable. I feel like they had a really good offseason. The concert thing, really weird. If you want to touch on that, go ahead. I talked about it yesterday. I just said, did someone probably say it? Yes. But was that person like a disgruntled employee who kind of just wanted to throw a little shade on their way out, or like that ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw in a little jab here and then just leave, like stir the pot a little. That was my take on it, because it's really weird, really random thing, and obviously it wasn't true.
Well, you know, it is the slow season right now, so everybody, if you want to get your numbers up, you're gonna talk about Colorado. If you want to get your numbers up one way or the other, give it something that people will say, whoa, that can't happen, and you give it one of them, and that's what it's gonna be. So when they said that that the people got forced to go, think about it. Why would Coach Prime? He knows some people don't even listen to rap. So, or that type of music, period. Some people not even they don't even know who Lil Wayne is, and the other guy that was there, they don't even know who them guys are. So why would Coach Prime even say, hey, everybody gotta go? Are you gonna be or are you gonna have to leave the team? Man, think about it. If I don't want to listen to no rap and I just don't get down like that, I'm not going. You can't force me to go to that. So that don't even make sense. That whole thing, it was so made up that Deion Sanders Jr. and the players and everybody, now they just went and talking about it, man. Hey, did you have to go? And then they was like, no, I didn't go, but I'm still here. So that's where they at with that, man. I have never in my life heard a coach tell you got to go somewhere. All the time they tell you got to go somewhere is practice, weight room, film study, and academic study hall. Them four, you going to a classroom, you going to them five. Other than that, no, man. Coach Prime ain't worrying about that.
I think maybe they found someone that had a sour taste of the program that was probably willing to say something like that, and that's just kind of how it goes down. Because it's, that when someone leaves, it's like a job or a relationship. there's always someone who's not thrilled with how it ended. So they're like, yeah, I'll say, you want me to say something about Colorado? I'll say something about Colorado. But yeah, also all these kids are young men, I'll call them. They're all 18 to 24-ish. You don't
Right.
have to force kids to go to a Lil Wayne concert. I promise you don't.
Right.
Most of them probably want to be there anyway. So very weird story, but I just want to touch on that a little bit because I feel like a lot of people were confused about that yesterday. When we come back, we're going to be talking about when will we know how good Colorado is? What moment in the season? This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find those right professionals. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps you find the right professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to a perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen. Joining me again, Colin Moore from Life in Football. Does a lot of great interviews over there. One of my favorite South Floridians over there in Florida. Love this guy. We're going to be talking about when will we know? Excuse me. Last year, let me lay it out for everyone so that way we have some context to this. Colorado, they start 1-0. They beat a ranked TCU team on the road. TCU was fresh off a title. Honestly, had everyone in the country was kind of fooled by that win. We all thought TCU was going to be somewhat good again, but they fizzled out down the stretch. Then they beat a very frisky Nebraska program that people were like, Colorado's going to get blown out. TCU, that's one thing. Nebraska's a different thing. Colorado blows them out. And it's like, okay, is Colorado really good or not? Then they have this weird sort of game where Colorado State, it was an emotional game. Jay Norvell's throwing shade. Travis Hunter gets hit with it. We'll call it a cheap shot, but him and the kid, they made amends, so there's no need to go after the kid anymore. They made amends, but weird game that goes to overtime. The defense was getting shredded by the crossing routes all game long, and Colorado's 3-0. And then everyone's like, okay, this team is really good. Then obviously they run into two of the better teams in the Pac-12. So, Colin, what week do you think we should kind of gauge how good Colorado is? Is it week 1, just based off of a certain performance, or is it like week 4 or 5 this year?
Man, I'm honestly thinking the UCF or the K-State game.
Okay. So for those counting at home, UCF is week 5, and then Kansas State is week 7, the week after the bye week.
Right. So it's like those two games, because you playing a real squad. UCF just had got into the Big 12 last year, so they finally are considered in the state of Florida, the Big 4, but it's always the Big 3, the Florida, Miami, and Florida State. But now they up there now. They officially there now. So they're in the Big 12. They got their feet wet. So that adjusted for them. But now they're going to be ready. They went and got a quarterback, KJ Jefferson. So that's a big boy quarterback out of the SEC. They got running backs that can run the ball. So that game will show us where we at on their turf in Orlando. So that's right around the corner for me. And then the K-State game gonna show us, because now you don't have to buy to get ready for K-State, and you know K-State finna come with it. So once we play them two, we'll kind of know where we at then. Like, how did we play versus UCF, and how did we play versus K-State? And then right after that, you got Arizona. So those 3 games, really. So that's what, week 7 and 8. So week 5 to week 7 and 8, 5, 7, and 8 tell us what we really got. Because now, okay, you beat Arizona at Arizona when you should have beat them last year at the house.
Yeah.
So
no, I like that margin, because if they get through, say, we'll go to week 7 before they get to Arizona. That means they've played North Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado State, those 2 on the road. Baylor, who wasn't a good team last year, but they added DeQuan Finn. Their coach is coaching for their job, and we all know a hungry coach is a dangerous coach. So that's really a really interesting first 5 games. And then, like you said, at UCF is a tougher game than people realize. Tell people about the bounce house real quick, because I don't think people out here know about the bounce house.
Listen, they don't. It's going to be rocking. because UCF, and I forgot what time they had that game at, but UCF gonna already pack the stadium because that's what they do anyways. Then on top of that is Coach Prime coming, so it's Deion Sanders coming back to the state of Florida for the first time ever in the Power 4. So man, everybody gonna be packed. I'm talking about everybody in the state of Florida who love Coach Prime, they coming. Everybody who want to see him fail, they coming. Everybody who rock with UCF, they coming. So it's gonna be electric, loud. It's gonna really be who's the real black and gold that game, because that's a black and gold game right there. Who the real black and gold, or black, gold, and white, because that's their colors really. So who's the real black and gold squad, and who can come out on top, because both of them gonna need it, because at that point in time, I think UCF be done played the Gators by then. So they gonna be needing that game, man. That's a need game for them by that time.
Yeah, I think realistically, because that's a good point too, because obviously UCF has an interesting schedule, and I'll rattle it off here real quick. They open with New Hampshire, Sam Houston, and then TCU, and then they play Florida right after Colorado. So they go Colorado, Florida. So those are back-to-back big weeks for the Knights. Whereas Colorado, they start off, I look at their first 5 games, and North Dakota State, a lot better than people realize. I know it's an FCS program, but they win championships seemingly every year. They've beaten, I think it was Iowa a few years back when Iowa was a top 10 team. They beat them. So this North Dakota State team is not a team to sleep on. Nebraska on the road is going to be as hostile an environment as it gets in college football. There's going to be 100,000 fans in that stadium. They have a new quarterback he was the number 1 ranked quarterback in his class, 5-star kid who he's expected to be that guy. And so Nebraska's coming in hot. Colorado State, I think they should blow out Colorado State, but it's a rivalry game. So you can never expect you always have to expect the unexpected when it comes to rivalry games, because there's just an extra sort of chippiness there. And I think that's going to be the same with all the social media beef. So realistically, I think at the best for Colorado, they start that stretch off 5-0, and they could head into that bye week 5-0. That's like best case scenario. Worst case scenario, which we don't want to see, is maybe they drop 2 or 3 of those games, and then they have to take on Kansas State. Talk to me about your best and worst case scenario for the start of the season.
My best one, like you said, is 5-0. My worst case scenario is if we lose to UCF, because I feel we're gonna get the rest. I feel we'll get all of them, but if we lose to that UCF game and we and we're 4-1, that'll still hurt, because you want that fight. You want them 2 victories out the gate in the Big 12, the Baylor and then the UCL.
That's true. Yeah, and I think also the other thing too is, in which Colorado, we both talk. I could see them going 7-5, 8-4 this year. I'm kind of in between, and I need to see them like play before I could really bust out a record prediction. But in terms of just making a bowl game, the magic number 6, right? So if you could get through September and you have 5 wins, and that means technically you only have to win one more game, and that's it's a good place to be in, right? So I think Colorado has a really big chance to start off strong to open the year, as you do as well. So really exciting stuff there. When we come back from our final break, we're going to be talking about what a big year for the program does. Say they make a bowl game, say they make a Big 12 title, maybe they make a dark horse playoff run. We're going to talk about that and what it does for the program. But first, a word from our sponsors over at FanDuel, because we all know we love them over at FanDuel. Summer means baseball, the NBA Finals, and more, and you could bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you could use to bet everything from the Finals MVP, which went to Jaylen Brown. I told you guys yesterday, Jaylen Brown, he's the guy. And look who won it. So who's going to hit one out of the park? Shohei Ohtani, he's always due for a home run. Aaron Judge, go bet on a heavy hitter. The guys that are hitting home runs every other day, that's your best bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Me and Colin Moore are going to tell you what a big year does for Colorado. So let's go through the 3 stages. So first stage, bowl game. What does a bowl game do for Colorado? 6-6, we'll just call it. We'll say they beat a handful of ranked teams. They beat a handful of teams they were supposed to beat, and it was a solid season. What does that do for the program?
6-6.
Yep, 6-6.
6-6. Would that just that just we happy that we made a bowl game. 6-6 don't really move the meter.
Okay.
Not 6-6 don't move the meter.
Okay, so 6-6, we'll just say they get a couple transfers here and there. They get a couple recruits, but nothing special. We'll call it a nothing special range. So let's go up to 8-4. So obviously that means they doubled their record from last year, or doubled their win total from last year. 8-4, you might be contending for the Big 12 title. You probably second or third place, depending on how conference games folded out. But tell me, what does 8-4 do for Colorado?
Now, 8 wins sitting good, because now you get your bowl game, you could win 9 games. So with 8 wins, now nobody's looking at Coach Prime like, he barely made it to a bowl game. Now they looking like, oh, he almost there. He's almost there. Like, and then in them 4 games that they were, if it played out that way, how did they lose those 4 games? Was it close? Was it nail biters, or was it blowouts? If it was close and nail biters, and they could have won, now you really sitting, and now you got a quarterback who's gonna want to come play for us. If not, the guy Juju Lewis, another high school quarterbacks, or a transfer quarterback gonna want to come and be a part of that, because now they see that, okay, Pat Shermer offense is nice. Okay, Coach Rob defense nice. Okay, bam, let's run it back. We got a lot of players coming back. We got key pieces leaving, but we got a lot coming back, so we can work with it. 8 wins give you that.
Okay, and then we'll go 10-2. Just say 2 losses. Say they lose because their final 4 games are a tough one. They got Texas Tech on the road, Utah. They play 3 ranked teams in the season. So we'll just say they drop 1 or 2 of those. They're 10-2. Let's say they get a Big 12 title appearance. And what happens after that, we don't know. But Big 12 title appearance.
They get 10 wins. Man, the whole country on alert. You gonna your 25 class gonna be exactly what you need. If you need that quarterback and you don't get him, if we get Juju and he supposed to come in and we feel like he's that guy and he play, bam. Or if we get a big boy transfer as a quarterback, like how Miami got Cam Ward, stuff like that. Man, so with 10 wins, you guaranteed to have a big boy quarterback, even with the 8 wins, but 10 wins and the Big 12 championship, like in that game, no matter if you win or lose, you in that game and you won 10, you're going to get the quarterback that you need. You'll get any old lineman that you need to regroup on, D lineman you need to regroup. Anything you need at 10 wins and the Big 12 game, and with Coach Prime, that's a whole different ball game. Yeah, we'll definitely have something to work with in 25 if we get 10-0.
I think a 10-win season sets you up. If you get your quarterback of the future, whether it's Julian Lewis, or maybe it's like Ohio State has like 3 5-star guys. There's only 1 quarterback on the field at all times. So maybe it's someone over there, whoever it is. I think 10 wins opens a lot of doors. I think recruiting wise, that would also kind of expedite the process, if you will. Like, I think a lot more recruits are gonna be like, Colorado, here I come. Okay, final scenario. And this is like best case scenario. And we'll go, they make the playoff. And I don't want to predict what would happen in the playoff because it's 12 teams, it's a lot of teams. But they make the playoff. It's year 2. You go from 4-8 to say, we'll say 10-2. They win the Big 12. So sitting at 11-2.
Yeah. And we make the playoffs.
Yeah. Say what happens there.
And listen, we showed enough running the show. Now we can really go into some recruits room that kind of felt we was off limits. Coach Prime can't get it done. Now they saying, they balling like that. And with all the limelight you get, man, we getting anybody. We really gonna be able to get anybody we want. Now University of Georgia gonna be saying, hey, I don't like this now. If who else at the top? You got your Alabamas, your top 5 recruiting teams gonna be looking at us differently then, because now we can go get some players. Now we can go talk that talk and walk that walk with in the playoffs. That's a whole different ball game now.
Yeah, I think
you get more money. You gonna have the televisions get paid by they companies, whoever get paid, so they gonna want Coach Prime on. And even though people don't want Coach Prime to be winning, the networks want him to win because it brings them more money. So they like, hey, keep winning. So the more he wins, the bigger our games get, the more eyes on him, the more primetime slots we get. So yeah, that just make us all the talk then.
Yeah, that would be a huge season. And let's be honest, TCU I think had their best recruiting class after they made the playoff, and it was like
Yeah.
I think they got like it was the 19th in the country. Colorado, they make the playoff, and I think they put together a top 5 class. Like that is kind of like what's at stake here. Of like if Deion Sanders has this kind of success, look out because people. It's easy to recruit when you're Deion Sanders because you open a door and you go, "Hey, I'm Deion Sanders," and everyone's like, I'm sold. I'm in.
Yeah.
Like other coaches are like, we have this, we have these amenities, we have this sort of like locker room, we have this sort of playbook. And like
Right.
Deion Sanders, he opens the door, flashes those pearly whites, and everyone's like, okay, I'm sold. So they
Yeah.
just need to see him win football games. And I think they have a major chance to prove just how good this program is and where they could go. Colin, I appreciate you hopping on today. Tell the people where they could find you, what you're working on, and everything else.
Man, you could just type in life and football and everything we got going on go pop up. YouTube gonna pop up, podcast gonna pop up, Instagram, Twitter, the website, everything popping up. So, and then now I am teaching a class at the end of next week, June the 27th. I'm teaching a class on how to build your YouTube channel, how to take YouTube and social media and make them work. I done taught a class almost every month this year in 24, and everything that I'm showing people, they taking it and taking the blueprint that God done allowed me to see, and bam, they taking it and running it. And you could use my information and build your channel, build your social media up to where you can have the influence that you want to have with whatever you love doing.
Yeah, so go check them out and make sure to check us out over here at Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Who doesn't love free things? And I will see you guys tomorrow.